And the point is that bands just have to get themselves together. They can find their own gigs. They can make their own gigs, like you two did at the Dandelion Market. They don't have to play in pubs, and they don't have to be so apathetic. Just be proud and do it.
Rory Stokes down here.
Exactly, I agree totally with what Beepa's saying there. The band should get out and get schools together to play in, because there's millions of schools in Ireland willing to let bands play. We've played in 25 at least lately, and it's very easy, and you don't need a manager to get you gigs. You can just go out and get them yourself.
I just want to take up what Rory is saying, right? I mean, there seems to be this idea that talent is everything, and that somehow a band actually selling themselves is not creative, right? Now, there is actually a whole creative input into projection, into entertainment, and into convincing people that you've already convinced yourselves. Now, a lot of bands in this country don't even look like they've convinced themselves of the validity of what they're doing.
They've no faith in each other.
They don't. They may have it, but they don't demonstrate it. And I think it's a really heavy indictment of a lot of young bands that's still one of the most watchable people in this country. And the music he's playing now I don't particularly like, and it's no offence to him, but it's Brush Shields. And Brush has been doing it for years, right? But you go to a Brush Shields Skid Row gig, or whatever it's called now, and I mean, the guy is actually watchable, he's got charisma, and that's something bands can learn, and they can actually project themselves to a
Not many bands have
I
that.
think too many bands look at this whole thing as a hobby, really. It really is a business. If you want to expect a record company to put money down, you've got to show them that you've something to sell. You've got to have the product. Not enough bands are prepared to do that. So what you really got to do is set up yourselves that you've got a product and get out there and expose it. That's really what it's down to.
And there's no point in getting resentful about it if you don't succeed. In the nature of things, not everyone can succeed, and you can't get miserable just because the process of the survival of the fittest applies.
Everyone can succeed, because not everyone is good enough to succeed. There is only a certain amount of bands in this country that are good enough really to succeed.
Different tastes. I mean, the way it's not just rock and roll. I mean, there's lots of different things that are coming under that. It's not just one, and we're not all aiming for the same thing. Like some bands all want to go out.
The basic thing is entertainment. People want to be entertained. People have little enough money to spend anywhere, and if they're going to give in their £1.50 or £2 at the door, they want to be entertained. They don't want to hear a load of crap. They want to be entertained.
Yeah, promoters are not putting on these young bands. Promoters. I blame them for the business the way it is. They're not putting on the bands.
But would you not agree that some bands...
What sort of bands would you suggest they put on?
But would you not agree that some bands do need to tighten up their act? For instance, that guy who said that Radio 2 hadn't helped the music industry is rubbish, because we have a commitment in Radio 2 to play at least 25% of Irish bands in the daytime programmes, but in all programmes practically, except some of the specialist ones. But the problem is that some of the records aren't good. Production is bad.
I agree totally. I don't know what the industry done before RTE came along in order, first of all, to play Irish product on the air and to get some exposure for Irish bands, because that's the only way they're going to get some exposure here.
Yeah. You guys, record companies are making a living off the bands. What exactly are they giving back to bands? What exactly? Can you specify what they're giving back?
I was a bit disturbed to hear this consumerist attitude to rock and roll being value for money or not. But in all fairness to Scoff Records, I shouldn't think they're making very much money at this stage. They're not exactly exploiting us.
Yeah, Hughie.
Everybody's waiting for this big company to come from outside of Ireland and give them this magic deal out of the sky, so that then everything will be rosy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not. That is that's where the root of
the international record
people of Ireland, how do they fit into all this?
I think most of the people of Ireland, like, with regard to bands, they don't buy Irish records, right? So the way, well, they don't at the moment, you know. So the way they see Irish bands is to go to see them live, and that's where Irish bands should really, you know, turn it on and work hard. And double bills are, say, two Irish bands getting together, two fairly big bands. Very few bands do that, because they get to a certain stage where they think we're brilliant and we're not going to play with so and so. If they did that, it'd be more value for money.
What? There's not enough Irish managers and record company executives. They listen to a demo tape. If they like it, they like it, and if they don't like it, they throw it in the bin. Whereas in England and other places, there's about 10 people, and they have.
It's no different in England.
It's the same.
It is as difficult.